Today's video, we're going to talk about why asking your customers, where did you find us, that magical question right there, can really 10x your results on PPC by using this information that your customers will freely give to you. That is, if you ask for it, how that's going to really pump up your PPC results long term. And for the reason that online conversion tracking, as you may normally know it, doesn't track nearly like you think it tracks. It has its strengths and usefulness, 100%, everybody should do it, but it has its major drawbacks as far as at least what people think it should do versus what it actually does. So I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of online conversion tracking that Google ads, that Facebook ads, and so forth provide out of the box for you to run your ads and improve them. And certainly with that, what are the drawbacks to the system itself, and where the drawbacks come in, how you can actually make up for those drawbacks, which have to do with asking customers where they found you, which provides supplementary information as to which platforms are actually working, which ones are not, so that you can double, triple, quadruple down on the ones that are actually pulling in the sales, so that you can see where the sales are actually coming from versus what your tracking says they're coming from. So this is actually more relevant for you once you get to where, because I've talked about in my other videos before, there's usually a general cadence that we go through with clients here at our PPC agency of what you're going to do first, and then second, and then third, and so forth. In Google search ads, 90% of the time are going to be the things that we start with because it ramps up quickly and it's almost always going to work. Occasionally, that 10% of the time it won't work because it's so competitive and the client only has a small amount of money to get it kicked off, and they can't wait for the customer to buy the 5th time for the ads to have paid for themselves, so to say, that it doesn't end up paying off, and some other things can work better. There's usually, we'll just say 99% of the time, there's always something online as far as ads that will work. 90% of the time Google ads will work, and it will work quickly, so you start there. So you start there, and then as you expand into other things, Google Display Network, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, TikTok ads, LinkedIn ads, Microsoft ads, which you should, using a process, find what you think is going to be the next most profitable thing, expand there. Once that plateaus, or you're not able to get any more sales, the cost per sale that you need, or cost per lead that you need, you move on to the next platform. You extract all the value you can out of that platform. And you just keep doing that until you've literally exhausted every online advertising opportunity that's out there available to you. And there's so many. You can do Pinterest ads. You can do pragmatic TV ads where you run ads on Netflix and so forth like that, which is an option for people now. And of course, beyond that, maybe you go ahead and you advertise offline. You do TV ads, you do it, of course you could do sponsorship of events, you know, you could do Instagram, you know, or not Instagram, social media influencers and buying paid posts. There's so many different things you could try. You know, you map them all out, and then whatever seems the most obvious to work, you start there, and then you go to ultimately you can set up tracking with each one of these to measure kind of what you're getting. As I'm mentioning on this video, it's not everything in terms of being, it's hard to tell exactly what the return is on something by looking at the, if it does have built-in tracking to know what it's really producing. But what you do is you do it and you kind of analyze how it's producing. You get everything you can out of it, you move to the next thing. But with like most of the online advertising options, they all have a way, including pragmatic TV ads, which is something new, to track how many people are clicking through your ads and then buying. And too many people think that that is like scripture. that they should rely on that data to know exactly how much they're making. If Google says you're making $8 for every dollar you're spending on ads, that's what you're getting. The reality is Google Ads alone usually undercounts your conversions by 1/3 to 2/3 depending on what market you're in and what you're selling and the price of that. So when it says you're getting an 8-to-1 return, you're probably getting a 16-to-1 return. Not many people know this. This is the one key that can take you from making $1,000 a month to $10,000, because when you can double the amount you could spend to get a sale, there's so many more ads you could run that weren't open to you before and can 10x your results just from that one piece of knowledge that you have. So naturally you set up your tracking, and with that you try to figure out what's working. Now as you get into doing other stuff that are supposed to be getting in front of people that aren't ready to make a purchase right away, the tracking gets a lot less reliable, because when somebody sees an ad and are supposed to buy later, and people don't normally always buy right away, the tracking is less and less reliable all the time. And the earlier you get in with the person in terms of their buying process, if they're just starting to do research and you get in with them then, the least reliable it will be. So the online conversion tracking that these platforms provide actually provide very little data as to whether those ads actually work or not. And then you have to get into alternate methods to see if they actually pay off or not, such as something called conversion lift tracking, where you run your ads one half of the country, and then the other half of the country you don't run it, and then over the next 3 months you see how much your sales went up from that half of the country where you ran this new ad or campaign or new platform, and then what the sales did for the other half of the country, to actually know how many sales that brought in. That's one great way to measure advertising that's supposed to get in with the consumer early, to just introduce the idea of your product or service. The other is you ask them, where did you find us when they buy? And you log that information and you use it to analyze where they're finding you, because where they find you at and where they buy, or what they click on before they buy, is two completely different things. So if you don't know where they found you at, you're just going to attribute to all the sales to the platform that usually exists as the last step before the average person buys, which is usually Google, particularly Google brand ads, but Google search ads as a whole. So if you're going to be able to make ads that are advertising to people that aren't ready to buy already, or maybe in market to buy something soon, you're going to have to get good at these alternate methods to track your ads. Otherwise, you're not going to see that they bring in enough sales, and you're going to think your Google ads then as a result are really hot. They're not as hot as you think, and you're just going to shut them off, and you're never going to have that potential to totally explode your business, that marketing to people who are not ready to buy yet, but you can plant these seeds and eventually they will buy from you, because that's 10 times, there's a 10 times greater window, or more even, of what you could do in terms of sales for your business, marketing to people that aren't ready to buy yet, if you could tap into it. And tapping into it's not that hard. You just got to have a good way to track it and find out the people that would buy your product, and then just get in front of them, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on CNN.com. You get in front of them and plant those seeds. As long as you could find the audience of people that normally would buy if they knew of your product or service, you could make money. That, and of course having the tracking methods to know when they see your ad, how many people will eventually buy later within the next 6 months, which can't be done with the traditional tracking methods that these online app platforms provide out of the box. So naturally, and finding out who the ad would get in front of, or who, where your ads should go, or who the ad should get in front of, that are going to ultimately buy if they just seen your ad and were aware of your product or solution. All you do, by the way, is you take a customer list, you upload it to Google, you go to your data sources, they tell you all the individual affinity segments and in-market segments that match with your customer, and then from there you know what people that you need to get in front of. It tells you the age, gender, parental status, their hobbies, their traits, what they like, what their interests are. There are also data expansion companies that you can take your customer lists to and give them to, and they'll tell you this even more information. But Google provides a lot of it by default, totally for free for you itself, uploading your customer email list there or their phone number list. And then from there, once you know that a person, if they're this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this combined, they're like, a slam dunk opportunity, well then you just run your ads there. Wherever that individual person is online, you want your ads to run there because you know those people, you want them to be aware of your product or service, because the chances are very high that if they're just aware of it, they'll eventually buy. Maybe not right away, but they'll eventually buy. So anyway, with all that said, a lot of people, like I said, are putting way too much stock in what actual online conversion tracking can actually do. I mentioned you always want to do online conversion tracking on your ads. This is the case every single time. You want to be able to figure out how many sales you could your ads are getting through and as far as the online conversion tracking systems that the ad platforms you're using provides by default. If you're doing lead generation, by the way, you should track your leads all the way to a sale and plug that sales data back into your ad platform so you can track how many people are buying and what the ROI is. You can do this on Google, Facebook, TikTok, Microsoft ads. So you should take advantage of it. Not doing it, you're wasting at least half of your ad money not collecting that sweet, sweet tracking data that tells you this age demographic is better than this age demographic, this time of the day is better than this time of the day. So it's not a matter of if your ads will work, it's just a matter of when, because when you got enough data for these ad serving algorithms that run the ads on Facebook and Google that these these companies have, can find you the customers that are likely enough to buy that they can get you the kind of return that you want. And also you as an advertiser, if you're doing it, narrowing down your ads, finding the 80% that doesn't get you the return you want and sticking with the 20% that does. So literally speaking, it's not if but when do you have enough data to know exactly what part of what you're doing is the keeper and what's all just junk that just didn't have any value for you. So you got to build up a certain amount of data to do it. And so right from the start, when you start advertising, you feed all that data in. You know your ads aren't going to work right away because you don't have enough data to tell you what to focus on. Eventually you will. You got profitability, then you can expand to another platform. But like I said before, once you start getting into more stuff that's getting in with the buyer, where they're further and further away from making their purchase, they're to the point where they weren't even considering buying a lawnmower, but you're going to get in front of them, hoping that because you got in front of them, that actually makes it a little bit more likely they're going to buy a lawnmower in the next 6 months and buy it from you. And once you do that, you got to switch up your game plan as far as how to measure if it's effective or not. So while online conversion tracking is great to drill down certain demographics, keywords, ads, and so forth that are working on your campaigns, and that's 100% what you use it for, it's terrible at determining your overall profitability of your ads because it undercounts the conversions, as I was talking about before. So if you want to know as a whole how profitable is my Facebook ads or my Google ads, you got to be able to do some other investigation other than just looking at what the number says on your screen within your ad account. I have arguments with clients all the time, or potential clients mainly, will just say, about them saying, well, I know I need $8 of sales for every dollar I spend on ads. Otherwise, they're not profitable. And I tell them these tracking systems undercount. If you want an 8-to-1 return here, what you're really telling me, assuming you have to, like your life depended on it, have to see 8-to-1 return on your screen within Google Ads, what you're really telling me here is, Bob, you want me to get you a 16-to-1 return. A 16-to-1 return isn't going to happen on Google Ads because if it was that easy, your competition would have been willing to pay more for those ad opportunities there, and then the market would, it's just like if you lower the price to a certain point on an item, if you lower it at a certain point, there's no items left because people will buy it at a certain level. People will buy it no matter what. So, and that's what that's the deal with this. If Google Ads, the return is so high, other people that are already doing it would have gobbled up all those conversions. There's a certain price that the market will pay for a sale from those ads, and ultimately it's got to be, so what your expectations are have to be in line with what the market kind of overall would pay, if you will, even though there's a way to do your ads better and get more efficiency out of your ads and whatnot. But going back to what I was saying before, it always undercounts to a certain degree on Google Ads. The same thing with the other ad platforms, because that's just an inherent flaw in the system. And there's people that just absolutely, I don't want to believe it. If you don't want to believe me, go on to Reddit PPC forum and ask actual PPC professionals. They'll tell you the same thing. This is also why most PPC professionals won't guarantee results like our agency will, because the tracking doesn't pick up all the damn sales. So the customer will want to say, I want to see you get this XYZ return, when the PPC professional damn well knows that they're going to be getting twice the value out of the account that they're actually valuing, if you will, because they are telling you, I need $8 to make a profit for every dollar I spend on ads, and really they're getting 16 to 1. So what they're asking is not even possible because of the 16 to 1 return. You can't get that on Google Ads or what have you. You get my point and that I'm trying to make here. So don't fall into the trap and thinking these ad platforms are going to tell you the profitability of your ad platform, like some people might actually lead you to believe, or you might believe or have believed yourself. So more stats about online conversion tracking to put this all into perspective. Search ads on Google or Microsoft Ads / Bing is what that is. 10 to 20% of the people that click, even though they're actively looking for a solution, only 10 to 20% buy right away or looking to buy right away. Everybody else is going to come back either an hour later, a day later, a week later, a month later. And ultimately, the higher the product or service price, the higher the price of the product or service you're selling, the longer the average time it's going to take for them to come back on average to buy. To the point where if you're selling something for a few $1,000s, the true amount of time that you're going to have to wait for those customers that you spent today to attract to the site will be like 90 days in the future. And so people get frustrated, and that's another thing clients get frustrated at us sometimes at our firm, as they say, the ads aren't working, the ads are not working. And you got to realize people aren't going to, most people don't look to buy right away. You got to advertise and you got to wait 90 days for your full amount of people to capitalize on that traffic you spent to get today. It's going to be 90 days before you capitalize on the actual purchases from today's traffic that you're buying. So you're actually building up a little pipeline, if you will, when you advertise. You're building up a pipeline of, you're planting seeds with people, and then you got to nourish the seeds, which is remarketing, and then eventually they start trickling, coming back, and you get your sales over time that you spent to get, to plant the seeds with today, if you will. So that's one stat to kind of know right off the cuff here to make the point I'm making. A second thing to mention, display ads, whether you're talking about Google Display, YouTube, whatever. Those people, now you're talking about 0 to 5% of those people buy right away. So very, very, very few people that click through your ad when they're on CNN.com or they're on Facebook are going to want to buy right away. They're busy doing other shit. I don't know why clients or prospective clients sometimes that we have expect that the ads, and they say the ads aren't working. The ads aren't working. And reality is, these people will buy. They're not going to be seeing, going to be on Facebook. They're hungover from the night before, browse Facebook. Oh, there's an interesting accounting service I'm interested in. Well, let's sign up right now. Assuming that they wanted them to, use their credit card right then. Generating a lead through a contact form, generally that a lot of times you can get right away. But if you're talking about actually laying the dollars down to purchase, these people are not wanting to whip out the credit card right then and there to buy something from you. They'll look at your best scenario, generally speaking, is they look at your offer, They say that's really interesting, I'll do it later. And then you got to do other stuff to follow them up to really get your return, and or just wait enough time for them to be ready to buy, because most people aren't ready to buy. So you got to play the game, basically, in other words. Now, furthermore, Google, if you're running both Google and Facebook ads, because of Facebook's super short 7-day conversion window that they have by default now, that only gives you credit for a sale if the sale occurs within 7 days of that user clicking the ad, Google's going to look like it takes credit, or ultimately it looks like, Google's going to take credit for 75% of the sales that people initially found you on Facebook. So in other words, of all the people that you're getting awareness from on Facebook ads, if you're also running Google search ads, 75% of the sales you get through Facebook are going to look like they came from Google search, because most people are going to wait more than 7 days to make the damn purchase. So if you're just looking at the conversion tracking that Google provides, Facebook provides, you're going to say Facebook sucks. Let's double down, triple down on Google search ads, when really you're just trying to, you're cannibalizing the people that come through Google search ads, and ultimately what you're going to do is your overall sales are going to go down. You're not going to understand why, because you're going to expect Google to just sell like it is, but without the Facebook feeding people into the Google system. They find you on Facebook. It's a great tool for getting you noticed by people that you know can benefit by your benefit from your product or service. And then Google cleans them up. So they actually just work together as a team, if you will. A lot of times on Google search you get the people, and then later on you want them to see on Facebook to close the sale there. So you kind of want, your goal really overall to do online marketing is to do marketing every place that's going to be profitable to you online. People are going to bounce around between all these sites and platforms, and you want them to just see you everywhere, or at least every place that's going to get you a return over the long run. Ultimately, people that see you everywhere are going to think you're the best, but you got to understand how to value an ad that's meant to only get and plant a seed in someone's mind, and an ad that's supposed to clean up a sale later on. So anyway, Facebook is generally more profitable than you think, because Google will often take the credit for the sale, the 7-day conversion window, which Facebook also does overcount conversions to a degree as well. So I want to mention that, not to overly confuse you here, but respectively, for something that's not $20, it's not a $20 broom you're selling, most people are going to buy within 7 days. So you're going to run the Facebook ad. You could have a perfectly good profitable campaign, but then just shut it down prematurely because you expect conversion tracking to say you're making money already, and that's not how it fundamentally works. Last stat to mention here, if you're running the Google, so ultimately if you're running Google search ads, 90% of the credit, and if you're also running not only Google search ads, but Google display ads and YouTube ads through Google ads, 90% of the credit that the Google display ads and the YouTube ads of the sales that the Google display ads and the YouTube ads get ultimately from that ad getting the awareness from the person you want are going to get contributed back to the Google search ads again, and or a direct visit where they just type in the URL in their browser. So furthermore, like the Facebook, if you're trying to make money with Google display or YouTube ads, you're never going to see that it's working if you're expecting people to see the ad, click through, and buy right away. Or even buy sometime soon, because technically it's supposed to track up to 30 days or whatnot with the cookie tracking. But it doesn't work like that, generally speaking. The main benefit, and you'll be 1 out of 100 people that knows this, because I'm telling you here, and most other people know this or think this way. The main value of a display ad on Google Display Network YouTube ads is for the person that you want to plant a seed in their mind with your idea of your product or service, how it can benefit them, is to see the ad, see what can benefit that user, like what it does to benefit that user, whether that's a banner ad on Google Display Network or a YouTube ad, they think, huh, that's interesting, and now they're XYZ% more likely to buy in the future because they're now aware of your solution. So when they get paid, or when they feel like buying, or they see it again a few more times, which is really how it works. You have an ad through the power of sevens in marketing. You have somebody see a YouTube ad, and then they see another one, and another one, and another one, then they see a couple banner ads. Now they're ready to buy, 2 months later. But the power of it is getting the awareness from the user, from the person that you know would buy if they just were aware of the benefits that your product or service can provide. So, and with that, the tracking that Google Ads provides to track the Google Display and YouTube ads is total shit. Most of the time it's going to look like it doesn't deliver any sales. If you're doing sales tracking, if you're doing lead generation, it does a halfway okay job tracking if a lead came in, but tracking like actual cart purchases, total dog shit. But it works extremely well if you know how to track it in other ways, which is what this video is about. This actually, at the very least, by the way, if you're doing Google Display or YouTube ads, you want to take the conversion tracking for tracking the purchases if you're doing that, and switch it to a 30-day view-through conversion window, because that tracks if somebody's seen the ad and then bought within 30 days, which still isn't very good, but it's better than seeing, having to see them click through the ad, get to the page on your site, and then buy, because you almost get no conversion data that way, even though the ads are crushing it for you in terms of getting in front of that user you want to know about your product or service. So, with that said, because with the Google Display ads and the YouTube ads, you can actually create something called a custom intent audience, where you could say, Google, if somebody searched for my competitor or been on my competitor's site within the last 30 days, I want my display ads / banner ads and my YouTube ads to show up for this person non-stop, basically. So that every single person that's considering my competitor that I know I can beat, they all know about my product or service, and it's showing up multiple times for them, so that now we're indoctrinating them to think our product or service is better, and that they'll eventually buy from us after seeing our ad so many times. And so that in and itself is so powerful, but even as powerful as it is, it's not going to show you conversions, because most people see the ad, they don't even click on the damn ad. They see it, they see the benefit of what you're trying to mention, 3 times as powerful, half the price. It's what it says on the app. It's not compelling enough to click through the ad right then and there. Most people aren't going to click on it. But it is powerful enough to get into their brain so that they say, shit, I cannot delay my purchase anymore. You're top of mind for that person at that exact split second. And because you put the work in between the first time they seen you and then kept following up with them, you are the first person they think of. And therefore you earn that sale. That's what you want to always do in your market, because that in itself always works. You're not going to see it through the conversion data. So how do you actually know that it works? What you do is you start asking all of your customers where they found you, going back to the original question. You either do that through your shopping cart, you have a question, where did you find us? Or before you put the order through for a customer, if you're talking about like a B2B service or something like that, where you don't have a shopping cart, you ask them there, where did you find us? And you have a field in your CRM system that says, where do they find us? So that you could build up 3-6 months worth of answers in terms of customers where they said they found you, and you could run an analysis on that data, and then ultimately apply a ROI multiplier to that source. So what you're going to do is you're going to see what your Facebook ad conversion data shows versus how many people say they bought from Facebook, and you're going to try to understand how undercounting is the Facebook conversion tracking versus the amount of people who said they found you on Facebook, because most people on Facebook that found you is going to be through an ad, because organic reach isn't there. And then a lot of times what you'll find is like 2.5 more times people bought from finding us on Facebook than the Facebook tracking says we have. And so all the conversion data that we see in Facebook from now on, we're going to assume the real number is 2.5 times more than what the Facebook account says. So let's go in there right away and just start jacking up our ad spend, because we know we can pay 2.5 times more for a conversion than what Facebook says that we have now, because realistically you're only able to pay so much for a conversion up to that point. Now you can now pay 2.5 times more for conversion and know you're still hitting your margins. So that's what you do with this where did you find this data, and you use that to decide of all your other platforms how undercounting the system is, and or just how good the platform works. I also recommend not only using this data, but with the conversion lift data like I told you about in that system, where you take, like if it's TV ads, run TV ads to one half of the country, not run it to the other half, wait 6 months and see how much your sales lift you got on one half of the country where the ads ran, and then versus the other half where the ads didn't run. And that conversion lift test, or testing like I mentioned there, in conjunction with where did you find this data, will tell you all the other ads that are meant to plant seeds in people's minds, not get somebody who's already looking to buy. You'll understand all the vast opportunities out there that are available to you, and then it's just a matter of finding who's the likely person that's going to buy from you and get an ad in front of them. Make them aware of the product or service that you have. And then, ultimately, you'll get more overall sales growth in your company, because more people that you need to know about you do know about you, because you're advertising outside the typical Google search that most people limit themselves to, because that's the only thing that they think works, because they're short-sighted in how they're actually measuring how some of these ad placements, they can get you in front of somebody that truly is a good candidate for what you're selling, what that actually is doing for their company, and no good way of measuring it. So anyway, that's the topic that I wanted to share today. Really, this will be the difference between having a little online advertising campaign and a huge one, literally speaking, because you understand the value of what these platforms and different ad types can actually provide you. If you like the video, I have a ton of other videos on this channel you should definitely check out, so therefore you should subscribe, as I manage several dozen PPC campaigns at any given time and give you the working strategies we're finding at our agency that work, as well as the stuff that doesn't work. You're not going to find any other practical advice as good as what you find on this channel, period. Just to keep it simple. So you should definitely subscribe. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, where if you like the channel, you can find excellent information just as good over there. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a like to really help us get the video out there, so other people can see it. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. If you have a desire to hire the best of the best PPC strategists for your PPC campaigns to get your results, multi-million-dollar a year results like we get for our clients at our agency, reach out to me and I'll talk to you, have a conversation about maybe how we can help you and how much we can help you. I'd be happy to get your proposal to tell you exactly how much results we should be able to get you up front, and then we can of course guarantee those results, as that's what we do here at our agency. Guarantee PPC results. We guarantee you'll get so much more leads or sales on top of what you have now, or we'll get with a startup campaign if we can take you on. So there's only one way to know how much you can get in addition to what you're doing now, or in general with using PPC to grow your business, and that is to reach out to us. So guaranteeppc.com to reach out to us and find out for yourself. That said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you'll use this information and that you enjoyed this video, and hope to see you on my next one, where I have another great PPC strategy for you there. Peace out.